Welcome to the second part of our Manufacturing Award Allowances series. Yep, you heard right, part 2 of a long list of allowances you need to comply with. If you haven't already watched it, I suggest you hop over and watch the first part of our allowances series, because you'll want to take note of all of the Manufacturing Award allowances. Making sure that you're paying your staff what they're entitled to is a first step to being compliant. In this video, we'll run through a list of 28 special rate allowances that you must pay employees that fall under the Manufacturing Award. If you want to find out all the details we're going to go through in this video, we've got a searchable database on our website. Head over to paycat.com.au/allowances. You can type in your allowance name or the name of your award, and it will show you exactly what allowances you need to know. Now, before we get started, I want to stress the importance of payroll compliance. This video is intended for general guidance. You should always consult with a qualified payroll professional or accountant who can provide you with the tailored advice for your circumstances. Let's get straight into it. The first two allowances have to do with work conditions in a different artificially raised or cooled temperatures. Work below 9 degrees Celsius warrants an extra pay of 65 cents per hour. If they work for longer than 2 hours, they're also entitled to an extra 20-minute break every 2 hours. Anything between 46 and 54 degrees Celsius means an extra 67 cents per hour. And anything above 54 degrees Celsius requires 88 cents per hour. The wet clothing or boots allowance entitles employees to an extra 67 cents per hour for the part of the day or shift that they have been working in wet clothing or boots. Meat digesters and oil tanker repairers also receive an extra 67 cents per hour for their work. The next two relate to confined spaces and working at a height. Any employee working in a confined space must be paid 88 cents per hour, and any employee not normally required to work at different heights should get an extra 48 cents per hour if they have to do a climb above 15 metres. Believe it or not, there is also an allowance for dirty work. The allowance specifically relates to work that is of an unusual, dirty or offensive nature, and it warrants an extra 67 cents per hour. If the dirty work has anything to do with repairing ships, then the allowance is increased to 88 cents per hour. While we're on the topic of dirty work, any employee working in sanitary works must be paid 46 cents extra per hour, and any employee working in slaughtering yards should get an extra 48 cents per hour. There are several types of work that entitles employees to an extra 48 cents per hour. Number 1, removing or bolting up plates under a ship in a dock or slipway. Number 2, boiling down works. And number 3, lead works. Next up, we have the foundry allowance. Foundries work with melting metal, so they're paid an extra 51 cents per hour. This is to compensate for all the uncomfortable tasks of working in a foundry, like heat and fumes. When it comes to handling carbon black, there are two different types of allowances. One allowance is when an employee handles carbon black but doesn't get 2 sets of overalls per year. In that case, the employee will have to receive $1.11 per hour for the handling and 35 cents per day for the lack of overalls. If they do get 2 sets of overalls per year, then just $1.11 per hour must be paid. On to the next few special rates allowances. This allowance is on the higher end additional fees because it's meant to compensate employees that work in an underground mine. Different employees get different rates. For example, electricians get an additional 12% of their hourly rate. Anyone installing or repairing belting should get an extra 35 cents per hour, and employees who process coal dust get an extra 67 cents per hour. Okay, next are the allowances that must be paid to employees who handle insulation materials, explosive power tools, raw materials and soda ash. Handling insulation materials warrants 88 cents per hour, while handling raw materials entitles 76 cents per hour. Using any type of explosive power tools demands $1.73 per day. An employee manually engaged in carrying and stacking bagged soda ash must be paid $2.03 per hour extra. If your company works with any type of second-hand upholstery, your employees should be getting an allowance of 25% of their hourly rate. Now let's move on to foreign rocks. Depending on the type of rocks your employees work with, they'll get different allowances. Number 1 is a phosphate rock, and that entitles the employees to $7.63 per week. And number 2 is mixing superphosphate, which warrants an extra $7.22 per week. For the sake of keeping this video short and sweet, I'm going to quickly run through the last few. If you feel uncertain about any of these allowances, because there are so many, feel free to use our super handy allowances tool at paycat.com.au/allowances. All you need to search is the Manufacturing Award allowances. Otherwise, our Manufacturing Award ebook has an excellent summary of all the allowances you need to know. Both links are available in our bio. Okay, on to the last few special rate allowances. Any engine drivers working inside the gas or water space of any boiler should get an extra $1.89. An employee engaged in skimming the drawing pit where a machine is not actually in operation must receive $2.91 per half an hour. And working with glass furnaces entitles your employees to $16.02 per day. And finally, jack bolt tensioner employees who work with a furnace while under heat must get an extra $8.68 per shift or part of the shift. So there you have it, a mouthful of special rate allowances. As I said to you earlier, make sure that you access our ebook or allowances database for a comprehensive breakdown of each of these allowances. Otherwise, you're welcome to leave any questions below in the comments. There's one final part to the Manufacturing Award allowances, so make sure you check out that video too. See you next time.